I don't care how many people forgive them, how many celebrities endorse them. I could not give a crap. So for me, it's hot, but to me, it's not. Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Social media really influences us more than we'd like to admit, to be honest, because I found that in the past there's been things that I wasn't that big a fan of, but lo and behold, it ends up in my wardrobe anyway because of all the people I see unboxing it, or just the amount of times I see it pop up on my Instagram or little red book. And most certainly my whole designer handbag collection has been influenced by social media to an extent, I would say. I mean, there are some bags I've discovered on my own, looking at eBay or the pre-loved market, all that. But all in all, I think a lot of the reason why I got into handbags has been influenced by YouTube and what I see on my Instagram. And there are some bags that I see more often than not in the last few months on my Instagram and Little Red Book compared to what I saw maybe last year. And I've noticed that there's some particular bags that keep getting slapped and pushed in my face that I might not necessarily even like, but they seem to be the hottest bags right now. And on the contrary, there are bags that I think people used to be obsessed with that I don't really see people talking about as much anymore. So I wanted to talk about what's hot and not in bags right now, in this day and age, this week, because fashion is so fast. And unfortunately, the thing about fashion is it goes out of date very fast these days. Yeah, it's hard not to be influenced by social media, but subconsciously we are sometimes. The Neverfull inside out bag, Louis Vuitton is shoving that down our throats, I must say. There are so many ads that pop up with that bloody inside out bag, it flipping around and going all crazy. And then I've seen a few celebrities wearing it. I think there is she's a gorgeous model wearing it. I think she might be an actress or something. And I find it very interesting because last year it was rumored that the Neverfull would be discontinued, and we were all thinking like, you know, oh, the Neverfull, you know, it's a basic bag. It's something that we're moving on from the Neverfull. And as much as it's always been like a cult classic, I think a lot of people have loved the Neverfull and use the Neverfull every day for work, for uni. And actually it's a lot of people say it's their first designer bag. I've actually never had a Neverfull, but there was like a huge kind of rejection of it, I feel, on social media. And now Louis Vuitton is really like, guys, look, flipping it inside out, like, check this out. And everyone is back on the Neverfull. And I find it very interesting because it's such like a simple bag. It is literally a tote bag that, yes, you can reverse it, but the way that they've done it with the striped interior, I feel like you could have done that with like an older Neverfull as well. They've just made it, they're just telling you now you can reverse it, whereas in the past maybe they didn't encourage it. And I do think it is kind of connected with the popularity of Goyard at the moment. And I know Goyard bags are very much known for their reversibility aspect, and I know they have a range which is leather interior and then canvas on the outside, which Louis Vuitton have now recreated in some of their Neverfull bags as well. There are a few types, some with leather, some without, and of course the mini Neverfull inside out bag as well. Yes, I just feel like this is one of the hottest bags right now, purely because it's popping up on my social media. Really weird that this is hot because there was such a repulsion against this brand, and now all of a sudden everyone is just like okay with it. And I mean, again, another controversial topic, but the Balenciaga Rodeo bag. So this bag, I do not like it, and a lot of you guys are going to be saying like, Jess, how can you not like it? It kind of looks like a Kelly. I think it is just disgusting. Like, it's slouchy, but it's sad. And then I don't like how they roughed up the corners of the bag and the hardware. And I understand it's like a take, it's a bit of a dig at Hermes. I mean, especially them calling it the rodeo bag. But I do not like Balenciaga, basically, guys. And I know that this is a topic that is touchy for some people, but I just can't get past the ideas they were putting out in that campaign. And it was very prominent on our social media. Everyone is aware of it. And I don't feel like any desire towards a brand that feels that way or wants to portray that sort of imagery. I think it is so disturbing, and it's like, I'm a very sensitive person, and when I pick up on things like that, I can't get it out of my head. I'm not somebody who just looks past things and forgives stuff like that. I will just not, guys. Like, I understand that it's a fashion brand. There's a lot of people involved. I don't care. This is disgusting, what they were putting out there, and they are still they're still manipulating people with their stupid designs. Like, again, the rodeo bag is just, it's just a messed up Kelly, basically. It's a messed up Kelly, and you're still paying like $8,000 for it. And they've even added a little knot to the strap to like really be, like really F it up, to be honest. And it is just a disgusting brand. I hate it. Hate it like with a passion. So that is how I feel. I know not everyone feels that way. I respect that. I just cannot get past this brand, and the fact that it is so associated with celebrities, and so many celebrities are endorsing the brand and backing it up and being like, oh yeah, like let's wear these, like, you know, fits from Balenciaga, despite like, you know, what they might feel is okay to, like, you know, portray or whatever. I just don't get it. And I know a lot of you guys are going to be saying, but Jess, what about Dior? What about that? What they are doing to their workers, not treating them well? I'm going to say in the majority of luxury brands and fashion, it is not fair. And there are a lot of people who get taken advantage of in general. And it is, there is a lot of problematic things in fashion in general, which I do not like. I'm still into fashion. Unfortunately, I do try and buy mindfully. A lot of the things I buy are pre-loved. It's good to, I think, buy things that last, that are quite timeless, that you're going to wear for a long time. I mean, even with fast fashion, I try not buy it as much because I know the working conditions for people who make it are not good sometimes. So I am mindful of that. But with Dior, honestly, it's an issue that I don't know if it's been proven correct yet or whatever. I never really bought Dior anyway, so I don't really care what is going on with them. But with the Balenciaga, I did actually used to buy Balenciaga, and now I'm just not anymore. I was disturbed by what they put out there, and to me it's a different situation. So yeah, I mean, I'm sure there are other controversial things that could come out about a lot of different designer brands. I think it's good to hear other people's opinions and all that, but when it comes to, I guess, like putting out the idea of SAing a kid, I don't think that is something that is that easy to forgive, to be honest. So I cannot say that is okay. And even though not everybody who works in Balenciaga obviously encourages that or whatever, I don't really feel comfortable wearing a brand that is putting out that idea or is creating that fantasy for people. For me, I like to live a fantasy, maybe of being a cute girl, like, you know, Chanel style, like, you know, living the Hollywood dream or whatever. That's a fantasy I like, okay? Or like the Hermes fantasy, living a low-key lifestyle, luxury life with well-made, well-crafted garments. I feel like, you know, being very effortless in your fashion sense. You know, that's the fantasy I get from Hermes. But the fantasy I'm getting from Balenciaga is a very disturbing fantasy that I don't really find that appealing at all. So yeah, that's why I don't buy into it. I don't care how many people forgive them, how many celebrities endorse them. I could not give a crap. I have bought Balenciaga before. I've had a few Balenciaga bags in the past, which were actually quite cute. They had cats and stuff, but no, I just can't anymore, guys. So anyway, rant over with that, but no, I know it's the hottest bag right now, the rodeo bag, but no, I cannot. So for me, it's hot, but to me, it's not. The Miu Miu leather bow bag. Now this is, I think it's also known as kind of like the Arcadia bag, but this bag, I can't stop seeing on my social media and Little Red Book. I don't know what it is. I admittedly don't see a lot of people wearing this bag in real life, but it is this very rectangle shape, and it's often decked out with bag charms. Most recently, I've seen it styled with like a huge clochette and like a pouch and just a whole lot of random bag charms, the Miu Miu Scooby, which I spoke about in a previous video. And this is a bag that I think because of social media, I've fallen in love with it. I will admit that I love the Hermes Plume bag, which is a very similar silhouette to that bag as well, which I talk about quite often. It's just this blue bag, which I have from the year 2000. And I do love this shape of bag. And I have seen a few other designers start to do this style as well, including I think I saw Louis Vuitton doing some mini ones. And of course, Hermes have brought back their mini plume this year as well. So yeah, this silhouette in particular, I've seen a lot on my social media. I've even seen like the pre-loved versions like of this Prada Borletto bag, which I really like as well. It's like this similar shape. So pre-loved and new, this silhouette with the bag charms stuck on it, is like all over my social media, and this is something that I did not see, I'm gonna say like 1 or 2 years ago. Like this was not a thing, this was not a fashion trend, but for some reason it's like the hottest fashion trend right now, and I actually really like it, and I will say I'm influenced by it. P9 Speedy from Louis Vuitton. Now, again, I think this is a love or hate bag. The P9 Speedy, I think the major factor that puts people off it is the price, but also it is very loud. It has all the monogram all over it. It comes in very bright colors, which is not everybody's cup of tea, but I've seen a lot of my fellow YouTubers that I watch unbox this bag, and I will say after seeing it being unboxed, I am kind of converted. I do love the look of it. I love how it's a little bit more over the top than your regular Speedy, and I like how it has that really smushy leather to it. I do find that I prefer leather bags over canvas in general, although I do have some fabric bags which are quite unique, but yes, I do think that it is quite cool. It hasn't converted me to want to buy the bag, only due to the fact that it costs quite a bit of money, to be honest. And yeah, I don't know if I love it that much. However, I do love the look of it, again, decked out in bag charms. So the P9 Speedy, I think it's a bag that a lot of people are obsessing on at the moment, despite the huge price. But I do question whether it's going to be as hot in a year or two, or if this is really just a phase. If this is just like, you know, one of those bags that the hottest thing comes and goes, or what. I really cannot tell at this point. A part of me thinks that it could be just a phase. Although the silhouette is classic, it's a Speedy, I don't know if the obsession for the P9 Speedy in particular will continue for like many years to come or what. It's hard to say at this point. Now the Loewe Margot, I know everyone is sick of talking about this bag, but it's a bag that no one really spoke about like 2 years ago, and all of a sudden it is on the tip of everyone's tongue. It's that very minimalistic dome-shaped bag that I also talk about a lot. It does remind me of a Bolide. It's been compared to being as desirable as a Birkin, but I think that's what's really interesting about the Margot. It's got people talking about the Loewe as a brand, and a lot more people are probably looking at the Loewe and their clothing and aesthetic and being inspired by that whole minimalist look. And I know the Loewe is not everyone's cup of tea, but now that Chanel have also invested into the Loewe and it's growing and becoming even more popular, it is a brand that I think is going to continue to be spoken about and be on trend, I suppose, and a lot more people will be willing to maybe add bags from the Loewe into their collection. Like I know they also have the 90s bag and that half moon bag, which is quite popular. I don't know if I'd necessarily invest in the Loewe myself, but I have seen it like more commonly on my social media than before. And to me, I don't know if this is a weird comparison, but do you remember that phase, guys, back in like 2016, 2017, when everyone was talking about like Chloe bags, and there was so many different like Chloe styles, like the little bracelet pouch and the Nile, and yeah, there were just a few specific styles. I can't quite remember now, but they were really hot and a lot of people were talking about them. And then it was like a brand which everyone was obsessed with. I bought like the stud boots, and now Chloe is just like, yeah, I guess it's not hot anymore, right? Like a lot of Chloe bags, like people are not obsessing on it as much. Now I feel like a brand like the Loewe could fill that gap in that kind of like neutral, kind of boho sometimes. Like it's definitely not like Chloe the Loewe, but it's kind of like, I feel like it could have its time like that, like a few bags that are very trending and then it kind of, we just forget about it. Could be like that. Although I do wonder sometimes if Chloe will have like their resurgence bag, because it seems like every 10 or so years they have like a hot it bag. I mean, even the Paddington bag was a very hot bag of like, I don't know, was it like the late 2000s or something? So there's that. But anyways, another hot bag that I've been noticing is the Loewe flamenco purse. So I've noticed a lot of brands doing this kind of like flamenco style, like the drawstring style. And I think the flamenco bag, yeah, it's one of those bags that it's very under the radar as well. And Loewe bags in general have gained so much popularity, I would say, over the last 2 years. I don't think there was as many fans of Loewe as there are right now. Like it was definitely more of a niche brand, and now it's just everyone is loving Loewe. And in fact, I've heard a few people say like they're selling their like Louis Vuitton and Chanel and like going for more Loewe, the Loewe, like more of these like nice leather, minimal bags with less logo. And although Loewe, they do sometimes do logo, like on their straps and that, their silhouettes are a little bit more unique perhaps, or minimal. And a lot more people probably feel more elevated in the Loewe. But I've noticed so many more people in Melbourne wearing Loewe bags compared to a few years ago. I never saw anyone wearing puzzle bag or anything like that. But now I'm seeing, like, yeah, so many more Loewe bags on the street. So I would say that Loewe is one of those brands that is very hot right now as well. And I think it will continue, actually. I think Loewe is one of those brands that are going to grow in popularity. Now, what is not hot right now, and just my opinion, guys, I see hardly as many people talking about Saint Laurent bags as they used to. Now, Saint Laurent, it's definitely still a hot brand, but not as much as it used to be, I will say. I remember in like 2018, 2017, 2019, that time, the, you know, the college bag, the Lulu bag, the toy Lulu, you know, everyone was getting a little toy Lulu, all that. Even the Nikki bag that came out a little bit later, people starting to get into that. But now I just feel like YSL bags, they're not on the tip of everyone's tongue anymore. There's something about them that maybe people are sick of the logo. I don't know what it is, but I feel like it could be also maybe people are just over the aesthetic. I did watch the recent Saint Laurent fashion show, and it was quite interesting. A lot of like power suits, and then at the end it got into a bit more like 80s vibe, which I quite liked. But yeah, I suppose I didn't really see any bags on the runway, but I don't know, guys. I just think their bags, they're okay, but like even looking at the store the other day, it's just very minimal, very beige and brown and black, and I don't know if there's anything that's really struck me personally in a while. I know they did the Icar bag was a bit of a hot bag that they had recently, but apart from that, perhaps their tote bag, I know that Rosie from Blackpink is the ambassador, so she's definitely drawing people to the brand as well, but not as much as they used to be. I feel like, yeah, Saint Laurent bags, they aren't as talked about as they used to be, unfortunately, and similarly Gucci bags. Now, I recently watched the latest Gucci fashion show as well, and I actually loved it. I like there was a bit of like Egyptian theme happening and like retro looks. The bags were not really standing out though. I can't imagine them being like very, very popular. They definitely had a bit of a retro flair to them. And I'll insert some pictures here, but I don't know if these are going to be as like hyped as when Alessandro Michele did Gucci, you know, a few years ago with all the Dionysus and the embroidery and the over-the-topness. I don't know, guys, like, let me know what you think about Gucci, but I think Gucci is another brand that it's not on the tip of everyone's tongue as much as like the Royal Loewe. It's there, but I don't know if it's as popular as it used to be. And same with Burberry. Unfortunately, Burberry, they tried it with the bags. Again, their most recent runway show was interesting, but they keep bringing out new bags, basically. They keep trying different silhouettes, and nothing is really speaking, I think, to people to become an it bag. They just haven't done it yet. I don't know why. They've tried to increase their quality, invest in better leather, hardware, all that. But unfortunately, their marketing or something is just not working. I know that I hardly ever see Burberry bags on my social media. I might see it in a Burberry ad, but I don't see a lot of influencers wearing it as much. Perhaps it's more prominent in other countries, but yeah, I think Burberry bags are not as hot lately. I also want to talk about the Prada crystal craze. I think the crystal craze is over because I've seen so many crystal bags in like TK Maxx and like I guess it's trickled down into those fast fashion stores now, and it's very affordable to buy like a sparkly satin bag, and I just don't see as much of a obsession with the Prada crystal bags in general, although I think that people will always have a spot for some like sparkly kind of thing, like a sparkly bag and evening clutch. So in a way, I think that, you know, a sparkly evening clutch is always going to be desired, but it's not as trendy as I think it once was. More people are going for those more everyday slouchy bags. And finally, what is not hot anymore? I don't know, guys. Are you guys over the puffy bags? Because I do see still some brands doing puffy bags, but I think brands like, you know, the bags like the Chanel 19, it used to be very hot. Everyone was talking about Chanel 19, this and that, and even I had Chanel 19. I sold it. I foresaw it being a trend bag, and I think a lot of people saw that, but these like crossbody puff bags, same with Bottega, like the cassette, the puff bag, not as hot anymore. I'm gonna say it's not as hot anymore. Although I will say there is a big amount of hype towards, I'm trying to like talk properly, but sometimes the words don't come out, like cos bags and like those puffy nylon bags. They're a little bit different. I do see a lot of teenagers wearing those like puffy nylon bags, stuff like that, that looks a bit more like cheap. That I still think is hot, but just the really expensive puffy bags, I don't know if they're as popular as they used to be. And there was a huge puffy bag trend that, yeah, maybe it's not as much of a thing anymore. Let me know if you are still into the puffy bag look. Thanks for listening to my ranty, blabby video as usual, and I guess I'll talk to you guys on my next one. Bye!